how easy is it? And I think I'm asking for Michael and I here to gain an audience and to build an audience. Has it gotten easier, harder? How much should short form content be part of our strategy to try to grow the podcast subscribers?
You know what? Let's start there first, and then I'll work our way backwards. Simply because we just started. We were talking about shorts just a second ago. So you have to be careful. This isn't advice to you or anyone listening to watching this right now, because I can't see your channel. This is not advice. Okay. Let's make that clear. I am not providing advice right now. But if I had access to your channel and I was doing my YouTube geeky mojo, and I know how to analyze the kinds of viewers you're attracting from shorts and compare that to the kinds of viewers because it's a completely different viewing experience. And what we're seeing sometimes is that the shorts are attracting the complete wrong audience. In which case, if I was your YouTube coach, I'd be like, kill these shorts now, and don't even mess with this, because you're messing with your discoverability. And that's the single most valuable part of having a YouTube channel, is the discoverability. Free traffic, free traffic, free traffic. Okay. So what you could do, though, if you didn't want to completely give up on shorts, and lots of big, huge YouTubers have done this, so I'm not telling you anything that ain't true. They just do a second channel for shorts and clips. That's it. Just do a second channel, right? Now, I'm not saying that's the case with you or anyone else. I'm just saying that you have to know how to interpret the data. And if you don't know how to interpret the data, either learn how to do that, go to YouTube Studio and take some courses, read some books, watch some YouTube videos. YouTube videos will teach you how to do this, or hire a consultant. If you just want to fast track, hire someone that's just going to be like, hey, I just need you to take a look at this, tell me what we're doing wrong, and then pay for someone for a consultation. So I think that's pretty clear. I'm not saying shorts are going to be a bad idea. I'm saying it depends. There's a lot of nuance with YouTube. Now, your other question was, how are podcasts? What is the great strategy with podcasts? How do we grow a podcast channel? Well, the good news for you is YouTube is actually the #1 podcast platform in the world. And I know the other podcast platforms hate that, but the truth is they're never going to catch up, because YouTube is the #1 video platform in the world, the #1 podcast platform in the world, the #1 streaming platform in the world. And you get a lot of metrics, like I was just hinting at. You get a lot of metrics, performance metrics on the back end, whereas none of the other podcast platforms have ever figured that out, which boggles the mind. I don't know why they can't. It's clear as the nose on my face that this is important for content creators to analyze the success or failure of their content so they can make better decisions moving forward. It would only make the podcast platforms more valuable to their audience. I don't know why they don't invest in that infrastructure. But even if they did, they're probably not going to be able to catch up to YouTube. So YouTube absolutely should be the primary. You need to optimize you need to think about optimizing your podcast episodes for content for the YouTube platform. And then you can have a VA or someone offshore, if you'd like to work with someone offshore, to give them your content, and then they can break it up in snackable micro vertical or horizontal content, clips and shorts, right? Gary Vaynerchuk popularized this model many, many years ago, that you got your pillar content, which in this case would be YouTube, and then you give that pillar content to a person on your team or a contractor or a freelancer to create 12 pieces of micro snackable content that you can blast across the other platforms, right? And that would work fantastic. Going the other direction is going to be frictional, expensive, and annoying. Going that direction is the most efficient, effective solution. Alex Hormozi himself, who is arguably the #1 content creator on YouTube when it comes to business owners and entrepreneurs, I heard him recently say, I don't know if this is still true to right now, but I heard him say recently, like 2 months ago, even as recently as 2 months ago, that he doesn't even make shorts. He doesn't. He puts all of his attention and effort into making 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long videos. And then he gives that content to his team, and then they chop it up to make the shorts. Now, at one point in time, I think he used to intentionally make shorts, but he's a smart guy. I think he also figured out that, not all views are created equal. Now, they still do shorts, and they still do TikTok and Instagram. And I think they do TikTok and Instagram and all the other stuff. But it's clear that to the business owner, to the person who, like, their time has the highest leverageable component. Like Alex Hormozi, for example, his hourly rate is incredibly high. He's on his way to becoming a billionaire. But he still prioritizes approximately 2 to 3 hours a day making content, and it's always long form. Now, podcasts. I'm not a podcast expert, but I am a YouTube expert. And simply because I'm a YouTube expert, I end up working on a lot of people's podcasts. And you know what we've seen? It can be really challenging to combine podcast content with non-podcast content on the same channel. Why? Because it's a completely different viewing experience. You end up, well, you run the risk and potentially split your audience into two. As soon as you split your audience into two, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because now that confuses the YouTube machine, data in, data out. And you don't want to confuse the discoverability aspect of your channel because that's literally 90% of the value that YouTube is giving you, right? So if you see evidence that you've split your channel into two, I would recommend carving that podcast content out and putting it on a separate channel, or carving out the non-podcast content and putting that on a separate channel. There are some certain advanced strategies where it might work. We have one client where we were able to successfully do this. And essentially we did it by treating the podcast content as just a typical long form YouTube video. And it worked amazingly well for our client. But that again, being a marketer, and because we've done this for so many years, listen, let me be clear. Actually, quantifiers matter. Context matters. I'm the founder of YTera, the YouTube marketing agency, right? At last time I checked the metrics, our company metrics, over the last little over 3 years, we have created and posted 1,944 videos for our clients. Now, what does that mean? That means we've learned a lot about what works, but more importantly, we've learned a lot about what doesn't work. And if you want to talk about that some more in the next little bit, I'd love to. I think a lot of people get distracted by focusing on things that don't really matter.